I think we have to be really careful on what tools. Some tools infringe on copyright very quickly, don't know where data is coming from. An organization where our IP and our copyright of what we sell, right? Well, where did it pull those ideas from? And now because you used it, you probably don't own that document. And it might be infringing on somebody else's. Or maybe it pulled that information from a competitor. Even worse. And another company that I compete with sees their paragraph in my document. Well, how'd you get that? Oh, I used AI. Well, that's a problem. I'm going to sue you.
Wait, is this whole book just a bunch of stuff he ripped off and strung together? If the original writers, or worse, their fans, ever saw this, there'd be a frickin' riot online.
A new ISE program, Cisco goes deeper into MDEP and where AI belongs in your meetings. All that and more next on AV Week. This is AV Week, episode 737, recorded Friday, October 3rd, 2025. AI Excellence. This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of the biggest news and stories in the AV and IT world. This week, we've got new programs at Integrated Systems Europe, Cisco announcements from WebexOne, and another round of acquisitions. Let's get into it. Cisco is doubling down on artificial intelligence across its collaboration portfolio. The company has rolled out a new generation of AI-powered tools for WebEx devices centered on the latest Room OS platform. Now, the updates, including real-time meeting transcription and summaries, automated camera framing, and AI noise removal, also is included. Cisco says the goal is to reduce meeting fatigue while improving accessibility across hybrid work environments. In addition, the refreshed Room OS integrates tighter device and workflow management, giving IT admins more visibility and control from a single dashboard. Cisco is positioning this as part of its push to make collaboration, quote unquote, smarter, simpler, and more secure. Cisco putting AI directly into the Room system itself, not just into the cloud. Now, that could have major implications for device procurement strategies and how campuses and enterprises design future conference spaces. We will cover more of Cisco and the WebexOne conference later in the program. Integrated Systems Europe, ISE, already the world's biggest pro AV show, is branching out with a standalone event focused on creative leaders. The new conference, called Spark, is set to debut next year at ISE 2026. It will highlight experiential design, storytelling, and content innovation. Organizers describe Spark as a complement to the main ISE show, tailored for professionals in creative technology, live events, and brand experience. What makes this noteworthy is ISE's recognition that AV is no longer about hardware. Increasingly, end users want immersive experiences that connect technology with narrative. Spark looks to convene designers, producers, and technologists in one dedicated forum. This signals that industry groups are broadening their focus to include the creative side of deployments. This includes digital signage all the way up through immersive learning environments or labs. Canadian broadcast solution provider Ross Video has acquired iOversol, a company specializing in cloud-based graphics and workflow tools. The move strengthens Ross's portfolio in real-time graphics, virtual production, and broadcast automation. Ross says iOversol's technology will integrate with its existing live production platforms, giving broadcasters and content creators more flexibility in moving workflows to the cloud. Now, this continues a trend of consolidation in the broadcast tech sector, where vendors are racing to offer end-to-end ecosystems spanning hardware, software, and cloud services. Finally, another acquisition in the integration side. AVDEX has acquired CCS New England, expanding AVDEX's reach into the northeastern U.S. market. The deal adds regional scale and resources at a time when integration firms are looking to build national and, quite frankly, global footprints to better serve enterprise and education clients. For end users, it means tighter service, networks, and potentially more standardized offerings across geographies. That's your AV News. Stick around for this week's roundtable discussion where we will look into the Cisco announcements from WebexOne, as well as a partnership with Jabra and Huddly. This is AV Week.
Hey listeners, it's your AV sneakerhead, Jennifer Weaver. Listen to AV Career Masterminds, where I chat all things job related in the audio-visual industry. You can find AV Career Masterminds where you subscribe to podcasts.
All right, welcome back. Now we bring in our fantastic roundtable with us to discuss the stories that we have gathered this week. First and foremost, Kelly Teal. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you as always for having me.
Absolutely. Good to see you. Also with us is Kristen Bedwell. Welcome, ma'am.
Thanks so much, Tim. Well, happy to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you. And last but not least, Mr. Jason Haney, all the way down in Texas way. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Happy to be here.
Our first story, honestly, you could just Google it. Cisco WebexOne. The story we're using is from UC Today. You could get it from our friends over at Rave. My buddy Steph Beckett was at WebexOne. You can go wherever. But the first and biggest thing is Cisco is partnering with Microsoft and NVIDIA to elevate how meeting rooms operate, bringing powerful AI and edge computing directly into devices rather than relying solely on the cloud. Their collaboration centers on Microsoft's Device Ecosystem Platform, or MDEP, which offers a unified, secure foundation for meeting room hardware to run Teams and WebEx features. Honestly, that is the biggest thing that came out of it. Cisco's also got some AI-driven note takers and some other stuff, but really the biggest thing here is Cisco becoming one of the biggest companies, or not, if not the biggest company, that has joined the MDEP program. We're going to start with Jason here, as he is our resident end user. From your perspective, I guess we should ask: do you guys use Cisco? Do you use any Cisco products? Okay.
We use Cisco networking, but not Cisco teleconference or anything.
Not Cisco teleconference. Okay. So that actually gives you a really unique perspective. From the outside looking in, what to you was some of the more interesting things to come out of WebexOne?
I haven't got a chance to look at a lot of the things that came out. To be honest, it's been a hectic week, to say the least. But the article you shared, I mean, it's got a lot of potential for sure. I know every UC platform out there has some AI built into it to some level. We're using people counting in the room for some meetings through Zoom, making sure people aren't using big conference rooms for 1 to 2 people meetings, trying to get stats on that, stuff like that. So, AI is the future. It's going to run everything here pretty soon. So, seeing how it's being integrated into the UC side of things in the AV world is exciting. Looking forward to seeing how things keep rolling and progressing for sure. So,
Kristen, same kind of question from you and Kelly both are designers. So from a design standpoint, what were some of the more interesting things to come out of Cisco this week?
They're hitting on some key points, which I'm happy to see. So something that the AV industry has not been very good at is security. And making sure that these systems are secure. It's kind of a much afterthought, and only when something goes wrong. And the Fortune 500 companies, that's in the forefront of their mind. And so there's been this huge gap of just importance, I think, from the AV designers. Not going to call everybody out or anyone out, but it's something that our industry has kind of not taking as seriously as we should be. And I think it should be a top priority. And what's a differentiator with this partnership is that they are touting secure Cisco systems, which is a huge deal to our end users. So I'm really excited to see that. I'm excited to see that push. I'm hoping that more people catch on to how important this is. I'm really excited about this partnership and what it can do.
Kelly, same kind of question is what did you glean out of Cisco's announcements this week?
So they have this agentic AI and connected intelligence concept, right? So they're trying to push AI further into WebEx with like a set of agents that don't just assist but also act. And I thought that was interesting. So they want things like note taker agents and task agents and meeting schedulers. And I see a little bit of this today amongst coworkers at work when we're on meetings. And it was kind of like they introduced an AI receptionist to automate front desk tasks, right? And these agents are meant to bring and integrate with these existing systems. So like I think it was Microsoft 365 Copilot and Salesforce. And aside from that, the upgrades to the Room OS was like a highlight for me because they have another feature like the the AI controlled audio zones. So to focus the mic pickup in selected areas, which these are all good things. But at the end of the day, if you're not using their product, it's a moot point. And they also had some calling and voice innovations that I picked up on. And their focus for AI, and for the CX and EX customer experience and employee experience for anybody that doesn't know the abbreviation. Many of these sessions had emphasized on how AV can be woven essentially into both customer facing and internal collaboration workflows. So, the narrative had shifted from AI and humans to AI as a collaborator, coworker, and workflows. And I just thought that was interesting because that's touching on something that I feel like I'm already seeing in this industry on both my side as a designer and then also on the end user side. And I think overall, I think what they're trying to drive here is they're trying to say, okay, well, we've got these updates that highlight AI controlled audio pickup zones, and we've got this spatial audio and smart soundscapes, and I think there's just something that they're just trying to emphasize on, I should say. But I thought it was just interesting that they had all these AI assisted commissioning and diagnostics that they introduced, and I'm kind of curious to see how that works and if there's any downside to it.
This actually, we can wrap this whole show around what exactly we want and need out of AI. I'm just going to reference the second story and then come back to you, Kristen, for a second, because the second story that we're going to do is Jabra and Huddly. They've got a collaboration here. The Jabra side is the audio side. The Huddly side, though, is AI cameras and AI features inside those cameras. Kristen, you referenced something there, though, that is going to, I'm going to get in trouble for, which is fine, and that is the security question. And here's where I'm going with this. Security absolutely needs to be a paramount concern in our industry. Absolutely. Without question, it is going to become more and more if it hasn't been. It is an ask, especially in certain segments. Jason works in the in the financial services sector, so certainly in there. That coupled with AI questions and AI features that certain segments of the customer base is asking for. There is a danger here. There is an exposure here because once it leaves the premises, then the integrator no longer has control. The integrator no longer has, and neither does the client, they don't no longer have control of that information. Now we're relying on a second, third, or fourth party. So, Kristen, we'll start with you with this very difficult question is, how do we balance the want, need, and desire of leveraging some of these AI tools with the absolute need and desire to make sure that our systems are secure?
I think we have to be really careful on what tools.
Okay.
I think unified security for all devices is required. I think some tools infringe on copyright very quickly. You don't know where data is coming from. You don't know, and I think on a organizational level, you have to have those conversations internally as well, because I may not use AI for certain things because I know that there's copyright infringement possibilities. I know that there's legal implications. I know if I use AI to build something that I don't own it, and in an organization where our IP and our copyright is kind of what we sell, right? That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
So if I use AI for anything that I create, I probably don't own it anymore. And that's not just an issue for me, but that's an issue for our design team. That's an issue for our architects. That's an issue for the AEC industry as a whole. Where did you pull this information from?
That's an issue for your client too.
Exactly. So I think it's very important to internally discuss those implications with your entire team, have them understand that, because I could see a lot of people using AI for a tool to make something simple, right? You're like, oh, there's no harm in that. It's going to help me write a document. Great. It's going to give me ideas that I can make this document better. Great. Well, where did it pull those ideas from? And now because you used it, you probably don't own that document. And it might be infringing on somebody else's. Or maybe it pulled that information from a competitor. Even worse. And another company that I compete with sees their paragraph in my document. Well, how'd you get that? Oh, I used AI. Well, that's a problem. I'm going to sue you, And so I think there's so many issues with it that it's a very difficult question, Tim. I don't really have the answer. I think just really understanding before any company really dives into using tools, what are you using the tool for? What purpose is it serving? And is it going to push out deliverables with me? Is it going to collaborate with me to do deliverables? That's where I think it really gets sketchy. And then where does my data go? So if I'm using AI and I'm creating something for a client, now AI has all my data. So now I can share it with everybody else. And so that's the scary part too, is, we sell our brains, right? Consultants sell our ideas and brains. And so now I'm just giving that away to AI universe, to the cloud, and and now has all that information. So yeah, it's really, really tricky. Internally we talk about AI and what not to use it for, what not, we are very restrictive at our company for that. So yeah, it's a tough question.
Kelly, same question is how do you work with and lead your customers down the road of them wanting AI, certain aspects of AI, but also making sure that their systems are secure?
First and foremost, I just had this conversation yesterday, actually. We're working with a confidential client, and the first thing we do is user training and policy, right? So I have such a stick in my side about this, because a lot of people go, oh, well, they promise they're going to delete the data if you request deletion. I don't think so. I mean, we educate our users on what is safe to discuss or show with even if it's an AI recording, and from our side, we essentially come here and label rooms as sessions where AI is active, or we encourage users to essentially avoid sharing proprietary files with AI tools. That's the biggest thing we do first. There are other solutions like endpoint security that we look at. So, you could secure your devices, your microphones, your cameras, your smart boards, your AI that have AI processing that should be patched and access controlled. And then there's the conversation of local AI processing. So if possible, in some instances that use AI features that process the audio and video locally on the device, instead of streaming everything to the cloud, because the cloud's another point of failure, I guess you could call it, or another risk factor. And then, disabling auto upload, things like that, avoid automatic uploads to any kind of shared cloud locations. The copyright and IP protection is a big thing. A lot of people are going to have to start watermarking or consider watermarking their AI-generated transcripts or slides if they're based on copyrighted content. And then we also have to have that policy enforcement. We got to define the rules for what copyrighted materials can be used in meetings where AI recording happens. It's something that I don't know if people are back-checking these things and before they're using them or speaking on them. And there's different ways you can go about the security. You could have more data access and storage controls. You could do AI model and API security. Those are all for us on the back end. But it all comes down to, in my opinion, just user training and having an understanding of what you're using, where you're using it, where it's coming from, back checking, and making sure that you're not putting yourself in a situation to have legal implications. And I don't know if right now, because AI is so new, I feel like that's what we're driving the most, is making people understand this is all user training, and this is going to come down to how you use it. From there, we have plenty of ways we can secure, and make it more secure. But we really need to get people who are new to AI understanding that this is how you should use it, and this is how you should not use it. And I think that's still a very major point of contention right now.
Jason, I'm going to still ask you the same question, but I'm also going to kind of take a different task on the other side of this. From you personally, the AV professional in your organization, how do you make sure that you and your company is safe? But then how do you educate your customers, the folks who aren't as technically adept in these systems, who just see, ChatGPT and they're like, hey, this was kind of cool and I want to use it. And how do you personally make sure that your company is protected? Then how do you educate the folks who aren't as educated?
Thankfully, a lot of that doesn't rely just on my shoulders. We have a team that is centered around nothing but AI. AI Center of Excellence. That is their job. They're the ones vetting with our third-party risk team what products are safe, what platforms are safe, how the data is being used, where the data is going, who owns the data. AI, when it first kind of hit the market, everyone tried to start using it, and there were security concerns and data protection concerns, and it ended up being everything got shut off for a little bit via network traffic blocks, so that you couldn't leverage those technical tools until we could take the time to vet them as a company. Some of the note takers are a big topic right now. Everyone wants a note taker in their meeting. They want the summaries. They want the meeting summaries. They want take this hour and a half long meeting and tell me the key points. Totally understand the use case, back the use case 100%. But what note taker and what service or SaaS model is appropriate and safe and keeps our data, protected and doesn't train it on other models. We had some of our users using a service, I won't name it, but found out that that service was taking screen scrapes of slide contents being shared during a meeting. Unbeknownst to any of us that were demo testing, my note taker joined a meeting that I didn't know it was going to join for me. Immediately got kicked out of the meeting by the host, which was fantastic. But in the 2 minutes it was in the meeting, it took some screen grabs of shared content and sent them back to me. And I was like, we have a problem. Called our security team, called our third-party team. I was like, hey, we got to work on a blocker right now. This is out of hand. So data protection, we're a financial services company. So we're dealing with financial data. We're dealing with financial customers. And it's not just us, it's their data as well. So keeping everything secure, keeping everything locked down as much as possible has definitely been a high priority topic. We operate in kind of a zero trust model. Nothing is safe until we have vetted it. So, yes, there are great tools on the market. Some of them just aren't safe and we can't use them. And we have to tell our end users we can't use them because of X, Y, and Z reasons. But as we test, as we develop, as we grow as a company, we're starting to leverage more and more AI. So ChatGPT has been a really big one. So the company just got it, to say the least. We were doing it for a while, but finally they released it for the entire company to use. But that was vetted, tested, locked down. As far as I know, isolated tenant style. So, and our version also doesn't touch the web. So it can't go hunt the actual live interweb and pull data. It's the LLM agent, but it's ours, so that it's a little more protected. So it's definitely a slippery slope, but great tools to have available to you, just with the proper security behind it, for sure.
I want to bring something up here to all three of you and whoever wants to chime in here. When I have conversations about AI, I split it into two different camps, very generically. This is Tim's rough kind of separation here. One is there are absolutely business use cases for AI in general, regardless of the business that you're in. When AV companies talk about AI, a lot of times that's kind of where they go to. Oh, we can do this. We can, do some sort of content creation. We can, take notes and what have you. And that's absolutely, you absolutely have to have those conversations. You absolutely have to vet the programs that you're using to make sure that they are safe and your company, from the CIO on down, is comfortable with those tools. That's that side. The other side is the AI in AV part, right? So over here is all the business tools. We all have to use them. The other side over here, though, is the AI within AV gear, whether that is a people counter, right? That automatically counts the people, tells you how many people are in a conference room, as Jason mentioned. That way, 3 people aren't using a conference room that's built for 20, right? And that gives him that information. Other parts of that, though, are things like dynamically gating certain noises and certain parts of conference rooms. There are 2 or 3 companies out there right now that are leveraging AI to filter out, let's call it business or meeting noise, right? Whether it's somebody clicking their pen or ruffling chips and stuff like that. There are a couple of folks that are leveraging that. Those are typically kind of self-contained. Then you've got the edge folks that are pushing their information out to the web for processing in the cloud, and doing things with that information, doing things with that signal off-prem. All right. Does anybody have a use case or a best practices when we're talking about the AV part with AI of making sure either A, it's either on-prem, or B, this is how we vet any information that goes out to the cloud and then comes back into our system, like making sure that they're treating that information properly and not screen grabbing or, taking the audio and, I don't know, recording it and keeping it in the background somewhere for use later.
For me, personally, when I'm looking at new stuff, I am quicker to try to adopt something where I know the AI agent is living in the device on my network.
Okay.
In-house processing, in-house, review, the Cisco stuff from the other article. If they're doing all of that processing in the actual on-prem device, then it's a lot quicker and a lot easier to get permission for said devices when we can guarantee, or at least from the manufacturer side, guarantee that no, that's all happening in the box. It's not getting sent back to wherever it came from. The box is doing everything for you. Great. We can leverage more of those features. The minute we hear, no, the data goes offsite to process, red flags go everywhere. So,
is that a hard, fast no, Jason, or is it there's just another step to verify?
Another step for verify. So, okay. At least in our processes that we've built. Yeah. So if we find out data is being sent offsite at all, if it's leaving that device, then it's going to have to get vetted. It's going to have to go through third-party risk assessment. It's going to have to go look at all of the reports for SOC 2 compliance and everything else. So there's going to have to be a lot of checks and balances. If we can guarantee the device lives, or the processing and analyzation is happening inside the actual box itself, much easier to turn on features, much easier to leverage that kind of stuff, where if, say, the Cisco stuff, if it's doing the intelligent, room analyzation inside the device, then great. That's great data to have. It's for an end user, that's even better, because I can look at it and go, oh, I've got plenty of holes in that conference room I need to go plug. Hey, integrator, let's have a conversation. So, but if it's taking that data and taking room grabs and taking images and stuff like that and sending it somewhere else, well, now we got to have another talk. So,
yeah, and that's also what I was talking about with local processing. So aside from the user training and having an understanding, which I'm going to hone in on, because I can't tell you how many people truly do not know how to safely use AI, and we have to have literal company cybersecurity trainings on this because of that. And one of the safest ways, as you said before, to use the AI in conferencing and from a security and copyright perspective is, and we record not we, but like everybody in general in this industry records, and AI processing does happen locally on the device instead of in the cloud, which is another point that I want to hone in on is, if you do everything locally and processing's done locally, not in the cloud, you have less risk. You just mitigate most of those risks associated with that data exposure and the intellectual property leakage or regulatory issues. If we can promise that, and the data, like you said, does not leave the device, and those recordings and those transcripts, the risk of interception or unauthorized access is minimized, but we also reduce an attack, reduce attack surface, right? So cloud servers and APIs are common targets for hacks, especially in this industry for some reason. And they, keeping anything local is going to also cause that to be a risk. We just need to look at this from a simplified compliance, or internal corporate policy often requires, restricted control of that sensitive content. I'm actually very impressed that you have a department just for that. That's impressive, and I think more companies need that. And I think those considerations and limitations need to be something that we talk more about, especially with storage limits and backup and collaboration, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like absolutely, totally agree. I feel like from a design and consultant standpoint, it's a conversation that needs to be had up front while during schematic design or even studies, talking to IT departments specifically, making sure that the products that we're specifying or plan to specify are secure. Something to keep in mind for manufacturers as well, that this is something that we look at, and I think this industry has pushed AI, use AI, right? Throw it in, or else you're gonna, you sink or swim. Use AI, and unfortunately, not all manufacturers are taking security into account. So it's not just okay, great, you have an AI app with your product. Is it secure? Can I actually use it, or is it going to cause more issues, more harm than good by using your product? So kind of a twofold. It has to be a secure device, and the end user has to feel comfortable with it and all of its capabilities.
Here is the last thing I'll say on this. I think that the industry as a whole has jumped on board and grabbed AI with both hands, right? Absolutely. I only wish that they would be as excited about the security side as they have about the AI side, because they have certainly not. And that is a huge vulnerability, and I use that term on purpose, a huge vulnerability for our industry. That there are some manufacturers who take it seriously, and they've got some really great tools. There's an awful lot of them though that still have not, and that has a chance to bite us all in the butt here quickly. So
we're gonna have to start encrypting our storage pretty soon.
Like when our projects go to bid and integrators try to swap. I'm not going to put it that way. If there's a change order and we need to swap products, not just price, not just use case, but security has to be accounted for and considered when changing products as well. So
yeah, that and I'm not telling Krista nor Kelly what to do with their job, but that needs to be one of those areas that this is a feature, this is a part of this bid that is not negotiable and not swap outable. Is that a word? I don't know. Anyhow, all right, let me get out of here before I get in more trouble. Kelly Teal, thank you, ma'am. People connect with you.
I am only on LinkedIn under Kelly Teal.
All righty, very good. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Bidwell, thank you, ma'am. How do people connect with you?
Also on LinkedIn, Kristen Bidwell, or you can check out our website, www.avconsultingteam.com, and shoot us a note.
And they have a very awesome newsletter they put out once a month. It's all really, really, really great stuff, so you can check that out. Mr. Jason Haney, thank you, sir. How do people connect with you?
Thank you. We'll stick with LinkedIn. Just search for Jason Haney. So.
That works. LinkedIn, I like it a lot. My name is Tim Albright. Do not follow me anywhere because at this point in the season, you know what? The frickin' Bears won, and that's all I'm going to say about it. They're 2-2 as of this recording. They will not lose this week because they're not playing this week. But you can go by the website, please, AVNation.tv. That is AVNation.tv. You will find this program and a host of others, including a brand spanking new Women in AV. Erica Carroll talks with Sarah Chauvin about mentorship, so you can check that out. We have been around the world and back again in the last month or so. If you missed me at IBC or CFX, you can catch me in Chicago this very week. Mitchell will post this on Monday. I'll be in Chicago for Almo's E4. Then back in Chicago for the very first AV user group meeting in Chicago on October 22nd. Very, very excited about that. Big fan of the AV user group and the fact that they are just up the road from me in Chicago. Really, really excited about that. Nothing wrong with New York or San Jose. They've got a really great one down in Austin Way with Jason and that group. But these are my guys, right? It's in Chicago. So, and I get to have a hot dog. And some Portillo's. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But go by the website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That is all the time we have for AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
This is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Hi, this is Jennifer Goodyear
and Erica Carroll
from the Women in AV podcast, where we are encouraged by the incredible stories of women in AV.
Listen in on fun, empowering conversations as we chat with inspiring women, breaking barriers and creating their own path in the industry.
Check out Women in AV on avnation.tv or wherever you get your podcasts.